Nice tight FG knot, braid to mono. It's super, super strong and works great. You can tie on the boat, real simple. Hopefully that helps. Alright, so I've had a few people ask me how I do the FG knot. It's a simple knot that I can tie when I'm on the water. It doesn't require any tools like a bobbin like the PR knot does. The problem is I've been trying to figure out how do I demonstrate it because my fishing line is so, the braid to the mono, it's so hard to see. So I'm actually just using a piece of normal rope and some black 550 cord. I figure that's probably the best way to demonstrate it. So the way this would be set up is this would be the main fishing line, right? So your braid coming in. Usually when I do this, I just hold it in my mouth and I bite on it with my back teeth on molars. The fishing rod's sitting in the fishing rod holder on the kayak, and I keep it pretty tight. So I'm actually pulling and bending the rod with my teeth just to keep that constant tension on it. So that's what I've done here to simulate that. I just kind of tied this rope around me and off to my grill over there so it would simulate the line coming in. The black 550 cord would be the mono or the fluoro, whatever it is you're using as a leader line. And basically, as I'm holding this in my mouth, I'm just going to drape this over the top. And I'm going to hold it on this other side. So as I come across, the first loop is going to be underneath. I'm going to come up underneath it, back across it, and then down on the other side. And that's going to be, when I come up, I'm going to cinch that tight, and I'm basically just going to hold that pressure on the knot with my hands. And then you're just going to repeat that. You're going to come underneath, come under the other side, and go underneath it again. And I'm going to continue this as many times as you feel you need to. Usually when I do it, let me actually back this up and get a lot more 550 cord. Diameters aren't quite the same as fishing lines, so it's hard to see the knot for me. So again, I'm just coming underneath, pull down, pinch, come underneath, and then cinch up. Alright, and then, like I said, you can do this as many times as you feel you need to. I always do it. 15 is my number, and 15 would be, so I would come underneath, pull that tight, underneath again, and that would be 1. Right, so I do that 15 times. And you're just going to keep this rhythm going. And the way it'll work is it's hard with rope and 550 cord, obviously, but as I'm doing this, your mono is going to be working itself up the main line. Every time you want to pull tight, so you feel that cinch, and you're just going to repeat that process. So let's say now I've done, okay, boom, that's 15. So from here, I get my mono, my braid off of my body, right? So this is going to be your tag end of the mono or fluorocarbon. So you're just going to leave that. You want to keep pressure on the knot that you've made, and you're going to use the extra, you're going to use the extra braided line. And basically all you're going to do is you're going to use this tag line, and you're just going to do a simple overhand knot. Now when you do this, you want to make sure that you're going around both what would be the fluorocarbon and the braid. So it's going to be like that. It'll be pulled tight. You'll do that 3 times. On the 3rd time, before you cut any of this, you actually want to grab your mono or your braid, and you want to pull, and that'll cinch everything tight, make sure that it's good, it's not going to slip, it's not going to break out, and then you would actually cut the mono or the fluorocarbon, so you're just going to have a little piece sticking out. And then you're going to do 3 more overhand knots, with your braid, and that's going to go just on the braid, and that'll be behind the mono. So over under wrap 10-15 times. Keep the pressure on the knot. Once that's done, you're going to take the tag end of the braid. You're going to make 3 overhand knots tying both the braid and your fluorocarbon leader together. So you're going to get those overhand knots cinching all this down. Pull it tight, cut the mono, and then 3 more overhand knots behind the leader. And that will be a nice solid knot that will not break. So what I'll do now, kind of that you can see the once you've seen the kind of the method of it, I'll actually get some braid and mono, and I'll do it again, and I'll actually tie the knot because it's hard to see it come together with rope and 550 cord. So bear with me for a minute while I set that up, and I'll show you the actual knot. Okay, so now I just got some actual braid on a pole here that just kind of sitting in the garage. So I'm actually going to put this in my teeth this time, and I'll do the braid with just some normal mono that I have here. It won't be as easy to see, so I'll go pretty slow, and I'm not going to be able to talk while I'm doing it, so I'll have to either narrate it after or just put some captions in. But I'll do the first couple wraps real slow, same thing as I was doing with the rope and 550 cord, just so you can still see the rhythm, and then I'll slowly speed it up a little bit until I get to the end of the knot. I'll do about 10 wraps, then I'll show you the overhand knots, and then how we're going to finish it. So without further ado, so as you can see, all I'm doing is same thing before, is I'm going under. I'll pull it tight. Then when this piece is in my mouth being held tight, I'll go under that one, and then I'll pull it tight on the way back, keeping that knot tight into my fingers so there remains tension on it. And again, just keep going back and forth. I use my other hand to kind of wrap up that mono so it stays nice and tight in there, and just keep going. Alright, so I've done about 10 wraps. I want to take my fingers off and actually show you the knot yet because it'll loosen up. But basically, so here's my tag portion of the braid and the tag portion of my mono. So all I'm going to do is leave that hanging out. I'm going to take this tag portion of the braid, and really you just need to do one simple overhand knot. So just make sure you go around both your mono and the braid, and you're just going to cinch it down nice and tight. Pull it against the rod so it pulls that knot tight right on top of your FG knot. So then that's kind of what you're looking for right there. Now, just to ensure that stays nice and tight, I'm going to do 3 more overhand knots, and I'm going to make sure that I get both the mono and the braid again. Now, there's a couple other videos out there, of course, that talk about doing a locking knot for this overhand, where they'll go through 3 times before they pull it tight. Just in my experience, I don't like that. It's too much friction on the braid, and I've done that pulling, and when I pull my knot tight, I actually break the braid. So I think it's just, probably depends how big of braid you have or what brand, so it's something you can try. But I just do the 3 overhand knots like that, make sure that those knots are nice and tight. Now after your 3rd one, you want to grab the braid with one hand and your leader with the other, And you're going to pull those nice and tight. And it should cinch everything down. And then from there, you can actually cut the braid or the mono. So I'm just going to use a little fillet knife here, no big deal. Now you want to try to get that as close to the knot as you can, because you don't want that tag end catching the eyelets as it's going in or out. You can also use a little torch and burn it and flatten it, mushroom it down, which is really good, but you're using braids, so you have to be really careful you don't burn that. So once I've done that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep this line tight, and once again I'm going to do 3 overhand knots, this time just around the braid and pulling in behind that little tag end. That's just to ensure that those previous knots don't slip out backwards. Oop, missed it. But again, this is one of those knots that's easy to tie. I can do this while I'm sitting on my kayak, put the rod in the rod holder, put the braid in my teeth, and then just whip this out real quick. It takes me about a minute to tie it. And that allows me to keep a nice tight line, or a light line on my spool, and have some good fighting power with the leader. Alright, so once that's done, same thing, we're just going to clean up that tag end. Again, you can burn that if you want to, but that's basically it. You should get a nice tight FG knot, braid to mono. It's super strong. And works great. You can tie it on the boat. Real simple. Hopefully that helps. Nice, Tamon. Oh, there are fish over here. Little triple tail.